G'day, it's Shane Dowling here from kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now I'm about to play a video from the New South Wales Parliament from last week, the 24th of November 2021. It relates to the false arrest and imprisonment of Luke Moore. Now the reason he was falsely arrested and falsely jailed for 3 weeks until he got bail is because a police officer named Daniel Keneally made a false statement, which is a criminal offence in itself. Now that's been raised in the New South Wales Parliament. They've ordered the police to supply all documents and evidence in relation to Luke Moore's arrest and charge, and they've got 21 days to do so, so they'll bring it up to the first week just before Christmas. So the story will probably die down then, but you can guaranteed early next year when Parliament resumes it's going to be a massive story. Now Daniel Keneally is actually the son of federal senator Christina Keneally. What involvement she's had in relation to trying to cover it up or not cover it up is unknown. Our website called True Crimes News Weekly wrote a story about this issue a week or two ago, and they were sent legal threats. So whether Christina Keneally's had any involvement in that is unknown. There's a lot of unknown questions, and obviously those documents that attended to the New South Wales Parliament are going to answer a lot of questions. Now Luke Moore was offered the following day after it was raised in Parliament. Luke Moore was actually sent an email, an apology from the New South Wales Police, and offered a $170,000 settlement. What it relates to is that back in February this year, Luke Moore rang the police and spoke to Daniel Keneally, I think at the Newtown station, and during that conversation, Luke Moore was talking about a business he has in relation to suing the police for wrongful arrest, etc. And at the end of that conversation, Daniel Keneally's written up a police statement, or a few hours after the conversation, he's written a police statement claiming that Luke Moore threatened police, threatened to kill someone, etc., etc. And it turns out that police statement was all bullshit. And we know it was bullshit because Luke Moore recorded the conversation. Now, but before the police were aware that he had recorded the conversation, they've arrested him, charged him and imprisoned him. And he was in prison for 3 weeks before he got bail. Now, the police ultimately withdrew the charge because they knew the recording was there. And ultimately they've obviously made an offer to settle and apologise. But they haven't charged Daniel Keneally. In the first paragraph of the police statement it says, basically, if you make a false statement you can be charged with criminal offences. So Daniel Keneally knew what he was doing. Other questions that need to be answered. Was he acting alone? Was he acting on instructions of senior police, etc.? Who knows? But we're going to find out a lot more, obviously, in the not too distant future. I'm going to publish an article on it. It will be on my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, tomorrow, 1st of December 2021. So make sure you read that. It'll have links to a lot of the documents, Daniel Keneally's police statement, the letter offer from the police, their apology. We'll have a recording of the phone conversation so you can hear for yourself, and then you can compare that to the Daniel Keneally's police statement. You realise that they've got nothing in common whatsoever, except for the two participants.
Private members' business, item number 1564, standing in the name of Mr Roberts, relating to an order for papers regarding the arrest, charging and detention of Mr Luke Moore on 25th of February 2021.
The Honourable Rod Roberts.
Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, I move private members' business item number 1564, standing my name, be held in the short form format.
The question is the motion of the member. All those in favour say aye. Against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr President.
Could members just order? Could members just restrain themselves a little? The noise is a bit overwhelming, and if you've got conversations you need to have, maybe you could take them outside the chamber.
Rod, how long are you going to be?
Sorry, Mr Member.
Indeed.
It's going to be about a minute though.
Oh, no, it'll be longer than a minute. Yep. Thank you, Mr. President. I move private members' business item number 1564.
Yep.
Mr. President, this is a call for papers, and it's a very serious matter. Call for papers are extremely serious matter, and it's one I don't take lightly. I've only ever used this standing order once before. Members will be mindful of that fact because I believe it is one that should be not abused. And to my own defence, Mr. President, I'll say I'm batting 1 for 1 on the standing orders because last time it produced a lot of documents that needed to be aired in the public. I suggest this is the same case, Mr. President. We're looking for documents in relation to a police matter. Just quickly, about 8:30 p.m. on the 24th of February earlier this year, Luke Moore called the Newtown Police Station and spoke with a constable, Daniel Keneally. Between 8:30 p.m. that night and 9:34 p.m. that night, Constable Keneally contacted the Real-Time Intelligence Centre and submitted an intelligence report. And at about 11:35 p.m. on that same night, Constable Keneally completed a formal statement in relation to that conversation. But unbeknownst to Constable Keneally at the time, Mr. Moore was recording the telephone conversation. On the evening of the 24th of February 2021, Constable Keneally was working with a Constable Jessica Riley, who subsequently witnessed Constable Keneally's formal statement. At 12:50 p.m. the following day, Luke Moore was arrested at Nowra by Senior Constable Paul Crompton and taken to Nowra Police Station. Moore was subsequently charged by Detective Malcolm Felgate of the Fixated Persons Unit at 4:32 that afternoon with 3 offences. 1, use carriage service to menace, harass and offend. 2, use a carriage service to threaten to kill. And 3, use a carriage service to menace, harass or offend. Moore was subsequently charged and a bail decision was made at Nowra Police Station and Moore was refused bail. He attended court the following day whilst in custody and Moore received an additional charge unrelated to the original ones. Bail was refused at the Nowra Local Court on the 26th of February. Moore was held in custody at the South Coast Correctional Centre under the 19th of March 2021. On the 19th of March, Moore was granted bail at the Nowra Local Court and released. What we have here, Mr. President, is a man that has been arrested on a purely verbal and loaded situation. Now, Mr. President, all the members of this chamber know that I was a police officer back in the good old bad old days and a detective to boot in the CIB. I am aware of a practice, although I never partook in it myself, of loading suspects and or verbaling them. This is the best example I've ever seen. Constable Keneally provides a statement and signs it. In it, he details a conversation, I said, he and Moore. Now, what we must remember, though, is Moore has recorded the conversation. Now, I can tell members of this chamber, any similarity between Moore's recorded conversation and Keneally's statement is purely coincidental. The two do not marry up. One is a complete fabrication, and that fabrication is Keneally's statement. And why do we know that? Because there is a tape in existence of what really happened. Now, what happened as a result of this fabrication and load-up is Luke Moore, Brett's his father, Luke Moore spent 3 weeks in custody at the Nowra Correctional Centre, bail refused, on a completely trumped-up charge. Now, how do we also know it's trumped up? Because the police dropped the whole matter, withdrew the charges. He doesn't appear before a court and is found not guilty. The police realise, pardon my language, President, shit, because they become aware, I believe, of the tape. So all of a sudden, charges are dropped. Luke Moore's escorted out of Nowra Correctional Centre, dusted off. Sorry, mate, sorry to be a problem. There's the door, see you later. Subsequent to that, Moore lodges a complaint and the police investigate the complaint internally. It's handled by some uniformed sergeant by the name of Joshua Madden from Keneally's own police station. I suggest not independent. A decision is made and a Superintendent Sam Crisafulli, the patrol commander or whatever they call them now at the Newtown Police Station in charge of Keneally.
Order. The member's time has expired. Did you want to seek
Can
an
I seek
extension?
leave for approximately 1 more minute to 2 minutes at the most?
Is leave granted? Yeah. Leave is
Thank
granted.
Crisafulli tells more that there has been a sustained finding against Keneally and that he did not act with due care and diligence in making of the statement. Due care and diligence, he has fabricated evidence that doesn't exist. He has fabricated evidence, and as a result of that, an innocent man spent 3 weeks in custody. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know what happened. We need all these police documents, and we also need to know why this has been dusted over by the New South Wales Police. Why wasn't Keneally subject to criminal charges? Why was he dealt with departmentally with a smack on the wrist? So that is the serious nature of this call for papers. This goes to the heart of the administration of the New South Wales Police Force and its operation, and I strongly urge this motion to the members of the House, and I thank you for your indulgence for the extra time.
Mr. President.
Mr David Shoebridge.
I rise on behalf of the Greens to indicate our support for this motion. It was earlier this year when Luke Moore had a conversation with the Newtown Police and indeed with Constable Keneally. And following from that, we had Constable Keneally verbal Luke Moore and make allegations that he'd made threats to the police commissioner and threats and serious threats of violence against police. A serious police verbal by Constable Keneally. As a result of that verbal, Luke Moore has his door knocked on, banged up, charged with serious offences, and spends 3 weeks in Nowra's South Coast Correctional Facility, bail refused, because of the seriousness of the offence. The seriousness of the offence, the magistrate said, well, you've threatened the life of the police commissioner. You've threatened the life of police, according to Constable Keneally, banged him away for 3 weeks, bail refused. And in the course of that, police seize Luke Moore's phone, seize his computer records, but they don't look at it. And little do they know, there's this ticking time bomb in their evidence brief, because when they eventually listen to the recording of that exact same conversation by Luke Moore, they realise that Constable Keneally has fitted him up, together with the Fixated Persons Unit. Now, if ever there's a time to review the actions of the Fixated Persons Unit and the actions of New South Wales Police, you think this would be it. But instead, we got Newtown Police investigating Newtown Police and just brushing it under. Because what actually happened was, the day before the trial was due to come, the day before Constable Keneally would have been tested in court on oath for his fabricated statement, based upon the completely unable to be contradicted evidence of Luke Moore's recording of exactly the same conversation. The day before that's to happen, they withdraw the charges, they walk away and hope it can all be swept under the carpet. And that's exactly what they then do. Complaint made by Luke Moore, swept under the carpet, police investigating police, nothing to see, walk away. Well, we think there is something to see, and we want to see the records and we want to see the documents. And can I say this? I know that the New South Wales Police don't like Luke Moore. He's got a colourful history. Luke Moore had the benefit of getting a St George account, which was called a complete freedom account, which gave him rather more freedom than I think St George intended. And the police charged him over the use of that account, and Luke Moore embarrassed them on appeal, and he walked away from the charges. And I get that there's people in police who don't like Luke Moore. Well, he was found not guilty, and no one should face this kind of prosecution and trumped-up charges from police, and the police need to be held to account. They haven't done it. Let's do it here. We support the motion.
The Honourable Mark Banasiak.
Just briefly, the Shooters Fishers Farmers Party support this motion. We believe transparency in police decisions and enforcement is important. If the public wants confidence in the police doing their job and doing it properly, sweeping it under the rug is not the answer. If there's a mistake that's been made, let's air it, let's see what's happened, and let's put things in place so it doesn't happen again. That's how public has confidence in decisions that are being made by the police. So I support the motion by the Honourable Rod Roberts, and I encourage all other members to do so as well.
Minister.
The government won't be opposing the motion.
Are there any further speakers?
Yes.
Reverend the Honourable Fred Nile.
Just want to rise and give my support to the motion moved by Honourable Rod Roberts, and hope that all members of the House will support it. We must do all we can to make sure that the New South Wales Police Force operates honestly and correctly according to all the police requirements and regulations. And this is obviously a case where that did not happen. And so it needs to be examined, and the senior police need to issue some sort of a statement apologising and rectifying the situation.
Is there any further member seeking the call? The Honourable John Graham.
Mr President, I listened carefully to the member's contribution. The opposition does have some concerns about the territory this is straying into. We appreciate the direction the member's coming from. We've also listened carefully to the view of the government.
The Honourable Rod Roberts in reply.
Thank you, Mr President. I don't think there's much more to be said. I'm concerned about the opposition's assertion that I'm going to some area. I hope they're not suggesting that this is the administration of justice, because we are certainly not going near the administration of justice. We're only talking about the police operation. And if that's the case, Mr President, I don't think it's any value in me saying anything more. And I commend the motion.
Okay. Mr Roberts has moved private members business item number 1564 relating to an order for papers regarding the arrest, charging and detention of Mr Luke Moore on the 25th of February 2021. The question is that the motion be agreed to. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Don. Minister.
If you do visit my website, make sure you sign up for the free email subscription, and every time I write a new article, you get an email letting you know there's a new article there to be read. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is free as well. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.